In fact, you know, before we got this blood-based government, the first thing we saw was President Ruto with the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, somewhere in a farm where there were cows with very big horns in Uganda. That time, there was no blood-based government. But then there was a rumor.
Is it a mispronunciation of the broad-based arrangement?
No. Mm-hmm. It is not a mispronunciation. It was actually broad-based. It metamorphosized into bread-based. It is now blood-based. But that was not the issue. The issue is that in politics, when there is a rumor, Fred, believe that it is going to happen. Any political rumor becomes a reality. It's just a matter of time. And so I think I differ. For me, I think I hold a different view from Honorable Elachi. And I think it's important that we discuss this bill, even if it has not gone through all the processes. Just in case, in the event that it comes to the House, then what are the issues in this bill? And this bill, apart from recommending that people do demonstrate a distance away from these protected areas, there are also other provisions in this bill, and one of them is the limitation of numbers. I think there is a recommendation that the protesters should not exceed 200 people, to make it like, just some people making some way into a particular function, not a protest. So that will kill demos as we know them if it passes. There is also this, I think it's a very weird recommendation in this bill that the organizers of the demos should actually produce the names of the people who are going to participate in these demos, and produce those names, provide a list of those names to the area police. Again, that would effectively kill demos as we know them today. And it would not be a demonstration, because how do you know how many Kenyans are dissatisfied and want to join you in protesting for a cause that affects them also? So it's a mischievous way of killing demos. There is also a provision that the organizers will have to meet the costs of damage to property, which is now that becomes very worrying. Because how do we differentiate between genuine protesters and goons? Because you remember when Boniface was shot in Nairobi, there were goons who were singing praises to Governor Sakaja, and it was there. They were saying Governor Sakaja to Melinda Gigi. What happens if I organize a demo? You are telling me that I'll meet the costs of damages. Then Sakaja or another person brings goons with instructions to destroy property. That is killing demos. And this is a bill that should not be supported by any right-thinking legislator. Because, and I particularly want to appeal to ODM on this particular bill.
But it's not an ODM bill. Why are we calling it an ODM bill?
I'm not saying it is an ODM bill. Honorable Elachi, I think it's important for you to be more
it's not
keen.
an ODM.
I've said I want to appeal to ODM. I have not said it's an ODM bill. I have said I want to appeal to ODM now that ODM is working with government not to support this bill. Okay. Only that Honorable Elachi was not patient enough. And why ODM, I want to appeal to ODM not to support this bill is because, until Gen Zs came, ODM was the owner of demos.
You hear?
And that is... Listen, Honorable Elachi, I wish you could be patient Senator. The way I was when you were speaking. Until Gen Zs came around. And that is why ODM and Raila Amolo Odinga in particular don't know how to approach this matter of Gen Z protests. No. Because ODM did not think that any group of Kenyans can demonstrate without ODM until Gen Zs came. But I want to remind them, ODM, that they could be back on the streets after the elections. And to take this, I believe that you archive these things. ODM will be back to the streets after 2027 elections. Why? Because they are comfortable now because they are working with Ruto. They will support him. If he wins, I want to assure them, if I have been to a particular place and I tell you it looks like this, please believe me because I've been there. After the elections, and archive this, after elections, if William Ruto wins, in the unlikely event that he wins, he will drop ODM like a hot cake. Something, not hot cake, like hot ugali, that you do not want to hold. Because he has done that to those who supported him in 2022. So you can be sure he's going to do that. So ODM, please ensure that you do not curtail your rights to demonstrate in 2027 around October when you will so badly need to protest. So don't support this bill. It's just an appeal because you will definitely be.
Thank you, Senator.
There is this matter of 100,000 Kenya shillings, fine to people who break the provisions of this bill if it passes. So many Kenyans will be jailed if this bill passes. Because how many Kenyans can afford a fine of 100 Kenya shillings, 100,000? That is why nobody should support this bill if they care for this country.
All right. Senator Eddie, what's your feeling about these attempts to curtail the right to freedom? Because this is not the first one. We saw sometime last year the then MP from Mbeere North, who's now CS for Public Service, Geoffrey Ruku, proposed a similar bill. I don't know where the Assembly and Demonstration Bill of 2024 is in the National Assembly, but I know it's still alive in the National Assembly. This is a second attempt.
For the record, this bill was proposed by Ruku the first time when ODM was doing demonstration.
Yeah.
And for the record, I was with Ruku on K24. I was with Ruku